So welcome to what is now Music Theory Class 1, but it's the review really quick of Module 1 and 2. So first up, we're gonna take a quiz, and I'm hoping that you may not have known that a quiz was coming. Perhaps this is a bit of a pop quiz, surprise quiz. Now, don't concern yourself, don't be upset, don't be anxious. There will be no grades, but we're gonna go over the answers to the quiz. So if you are watching online, we're going to edit out the part here where we're going to be working on the quiz. So just take out Module 1 and 2 quiz and hit pause right here. Okay, we're going to start going over the answers of Module 1 and 2 quiz. Anybody in person would love to shout out the answer to number 1. The what includes all of the notes used in Western music. 12-tone system is a great answer, and I think technically works. It's not the answer I was looking for. Chromatic is the answer I was looking for, number 1. The chromatic scale includes all of the notes used in Western music, but I can see where you're going with 12-tone system. I give you some grace for that. Number 2, the most commonly used scale in Western music is... No, wait, not everybody at once. It gets really confusing wading through it all. Pentatonic's a great guess. Diatonic counts, but I'm looking for another word. Major scale is what I was looking for, but I got to tell you, I haven't really thought about it when you said pentatonic, Gary. You know what? Most people could make a claim that that might be just as valid of an answer as well. By the way, if we go through a question and I'm about to go on to the next one, you don't understand what we just said, please raise your hand. Please holler. True or false? Number 3, in forming a major scale, you must use every letter of the musical alphabet. True is the right answer. It's one of our 2 rules. Number 4, a chain of musical notes in ascending and descending order that we choose to use for our musical work is called mode. Mode counts, but it's not the word I'm looking for. Scale is a better word. Mode is a word that gets used a lot more in academic circles. There's a reason why they define mode as a different word, but I think the reasoning doesn't help people make better music. So I think I use the word scale and mode interchangeably. Scale is a pool of notes, is my kind of definition. Okay, number 5, what is considered home base for Western music? Home base? He said natural C. I can see where you're coming from. Anybody got a different answer? A, because somebody's thinking A440. It's actually a whole different thing, but I can totally see where you're coming from. You say diatonic scale, I'm looking for major scale. But you know what? I think this is the most poorly, every time I get to this quiz, it's the poorly worded question. So everybody give me dagger eyes real quick. Austin, write better questions next time. Number 6, true or false, a scale always has 7 notes. False is the right answer. A scale can have any possible combination of the 12, including 12 or 2 or 4. Any possible combination of the 12 slices in the octave could be a scale. There's a huge number of scales. But we focus on the major. Number 7, what is the interval formula for a major scale? Great, let's say it together one more time. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Excellent. You got to get this locked because it's going to everything we're going to build on. Yeah. Now, number 8, in Western music, we typically use how many notes for a scale? Typically. 8's close. 7's a better answer because you're thinking, because the octave is a duplicate of the other. So I can see where you're coming from, okay? But typically 7. Number 9, what kind of scale has every pitch at an interval of exactly a half step away from the next pitch? The chromatic scale is the right answer. Number 10, true or false? A major scale can use each letter name multiple times. False. It's one of our 2 big... You're not allowed to use the letter name more than once in creating a scale. And you have to use every letter name in creating a scale, especially on 7-note scales. So number 11, somebody raise their hand that they can speak out the spelling of number 1. Anybody? Alex? C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Somebody raise their hand on number 2. Joe Hudson.
E, F sharp, G, A, B, C.
Very close. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. That last whole half from B up to C sharp's a whole. Okay? But I'm glad we caught that because now we're figuring out what we know and what we don't know. Number 3, anybody? No, Alex already did. Bobby Price. That's correct. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Number 4, anybody at all that has not already answered? Gary wants to take a shot at number 4. What's the F major scale?
F, G, A, B flat, C, D, F.
Excellent. That's exactly right. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and F. Going to the next page, let me throw out that I think it's a good idea for every musician to know the major scales like they know how to drive home from work. That it's so automatic that the A flat major scale is A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G. And then down the road, when they have other variations, the more you know intuitively all of those other scales that you might run into, the better off you are. You don't have to think about it. It's just like driving home from work. So that just takes a lot of repetition and memorization. So I'm hoping we've all been working on that some this week. Number 12, and Paul, I'm moving over to the keyboard. On the following keyboard diagram, start on E and apply the pattern to get the notes of the E major scale. Mark each key with an X as you find which one to use. I'm going to go ahead and explain this one. So take a look up here. Now we want to find, we're going to start on the E major scale. So here's 2 black keys, and going to the left, 1 key is C. That's C major, C natural, excuse me. This is C natural, D natural, E natural. I'm going to go down an octave for the camera. So here's E natural. So I want to make an E major scale. So it's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. If I go up the first whole step, I skip the white and I go to F sharp. So I should have an X on an E. Then I put an X on an F sharp. Next is a whole step. We're going to skip a white and go up to the black key G sharp. So you should have an X on the G sharp. The next part in our scale is a half step. So we're going to go a half step above G sharp. So we go up to the A on the white key. So you should have an X on the A. Now we got 3 wholes and a half left. We're going to go a whole step above A to B. So that white key has an X. That's our first hole of the 3. Next hole, we go up a whole step to C sharp. And then another hole to D sharp. So these 2 black keys both should have X's on them. And then the final part of our formula is a half step at the end. So we get another X on the E. So if you're following along on the video, it should have an X here, which is to the right of the grouping of 2 black notes. E, F sharp, G sharp, 2 blacks. Now white, A and B. Then X is on C sharp, D sharp, and E. And hopefully we've got a diagram for you up on the video for you to see the answer. Everybody in person, that makes sense? Yeah? Any questions? Okay, now we're moving to number 13. Anybody, this ought to be a super easy one. Anybody? What are the names of the E major scale? Trying to help a brother out. For the people in Germany, help a brother out means I'm just trying to be helpful. So, what you got, Grant? E major scale.
F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E.
That's correct. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. Number 14, now we're headed to the fretboard. On the following fretboard diagram, start on the open G string and apply the pattern to get the notes of the A major scale. Mark each fret with an X where you would press the string down. Now first we got to find the open G string. Then we get that with our famous phrase, everybody say it with me, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, which means good is our 4th string, 4th from the bottom from the player's perspective, or this string here. 1, 2, 3, 4, Eddie ate dynamite, good. Here's our open G string. We're going to create an A major scale on the open G string. To get an A on the G string, we got to go up a whole step from the open string or begin fretting here. So your first X should be on the 4th string from the bottom player's perspective and the 2nd fret, and that's an A. So there should be an X here, 2nd fret, 3rd string from the top. We go up a whole step or go up 2 frets to the letter B, whole step above A. Now the 4th fret of the G string, so you should have an X there. Going up another whole step to C sharp. That's the 6th fret, so you should have an X there. So you should have 3 X's that are spaced a fret apart. Now the next fret, the next note is a half step up, whole, whole, half. That's from C sharp, it goes up to D. That's the 7th fret or the very next adjacent fret. So you should see a fret next to, you should have an X on two adjacent frets right there from the C sharp and the D. Now continuing on, we're going to go up 3 holes and a half. The first hole is 2 frets to E, which is the 9th fret. 2 more frets up to C sharp, which is the 11th fret. C sharp. 2 more frets up to D sharp. Thank you for catching that, Paul. I normally don't go this high. D sharp is the 13th fret, or 1 past the double dot, because the double dot is 12 frets. So you should have an X at the 13th fret, 1 past the double dot. And then our final E is the 14th fret, 2 frets above the double dot. I think I was saying the wrong letters. I started saying that E major scale. And I don't think that's something we can edit. So I'm going to go quicker so everybody on the video can just rewind, because I started saying the wrong letters. So here's an A on the 2nd fret, 4th fret B, 5th fret C sharp. Maybe we can put a little sign on the video that says Austin started saying the wrong notes here, and he's going to say it right in a minute. Next fret is D. Next fret is E. Now the 11th fret on the G string is an F sharp, not what I said earlier. Then a G sharp on the 13th fret, and an A again, making the A major scale. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A major scale formula, all on the G string, starting on the 2nd fret. Did that make sense? Everybody feel like your X's are in the right spot? Okay. Double check on the video later, because we'll put the diagram up on the video and make sure that you got it. Number 15, who wants the hardest question of all? What are the note names for the A major scale? Anybody? Grant, one more time, just because he's my hero back there.
A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp.
Yes, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. Question number 16, what can be considered our pool of choices? Anybody? A good guess, not the word I'm looking for. Key counts, but still not the word I'm looking for. Scale is the right word. See, it's deceptively simple, trying to get the things across. To me, key and scale are somewhat interchangeable. We use them a little bit different ways, but they mean kind of the same thing. Inharmonic, we'll have to talk about that, Dave. No, I'm just kidding. The questions are a little, everybody got it. So our next page, scale reference sheet. Notice that instead of what was before your scale practice sheet, which you should continue to use to work through your scales over and over and over, for the remainder of Module 3 and 4, and actually through the rest of the course, so that you don't, if you can't remember, this is your scale reference sheet. If you want to do your scale practice sheet and look at this and make sure you got it right, triple check, this is it. So you can have it in front of you the rest of the class. And for in-person people, I'd go ahead and pull it out and put it where you can get to it, because you're going to be referring to it the whole rest of the evening. And that concludes our intro portion of the video. Thank you. We're going to restart to hit Module 3 here in just a minute.